KGH.
Thank you, Don, and welcome to the Thursday program. It seems like this should be Monday, Ms. LeGrand.
Oh, I know. You've had such a week.
We've all had an outstanding week.
Yes.
And, it's so nice to sit back. Ms. LeGrand, our guest today, as she is each and every Thursday, it's so nice to sit back and see a job completed, and you can stand back and say a job well done.
You're right. I feel so grateful to everybody for coming through. It just, Tuesday was just something you read in a storybook. It just happened just like we hoped it would, every inch of the way.
Completed the 1891 renovation of the old jail that was established in 1891, and now we have the old jail museum and the LeGrand History Center, and a museum that we can all be proud of, and research books that 2 years ago you wouldn't have dreamed of having at this time.
That's absolutely right. I think the public is going to be so pleasantly surprised when they walk into that building and go through it and see actually what we have, because I'm surprised myself, and I've been working on all these months on it, but it just keeps coming to us, and some valuable things came to us yesterday that we will develop as we have time, and this will happen on and on. This is what we hope for, and I know now it's going to happen.
Well, your dedication day was just, the words can't describe how smoothly everything went in the presentation. The classic word from our governor was, "Ms. LeGrand, I want to grow up and be just like you."
This was a total surprise.
I love that. She is quite a person.
That Lady Ann is some person. Now, her personality is so infectious, it just gets you.
It does.
She warms to everybody, and she was in that jail just like she was one of the workers. She was ready to examine everything in it. We didn't know she'd even have time to go through the building, but she took time. Nobody rushed her. Finally, one of our members said to one of the guards, he said, "It's time to go," and she's still busy looking at things, and they try to keep her right on schedule. And, we did get to the college 5 minutes late, and it was a wonder that we made it that quickly, because she stopped and asked questions, and she wanted explanations, and it took her back to childhood, and she'd say that over and over. And this guide, or not guide, one of her attendants, they were very careful to take care of her, but she had her own way of doing, and she just followed me, and everything that I said and everything everybody else said, she drank it up right along. And one of our members said to this guard that was with her, said, "Do you tell her when to go, or does she tell you?" He says, "We don't tell her. We tell her the time is here, but she leaves when she gets ready." And so she finally made it out. And I was amused then, after the whole program at the college, that she armed up with Champion, the horse, and then she talked to everybody as she went along. And when they got to the door, she said, "Champion, I've got work to do. I've got to go."
Oh, bless her heart.
She's real
well,
cute.
it was certainly...
She's a very clever woman.
Oh, she is. And you understand now. You watch someone as they go through the political chairs, as it would be, and then you see somebody with such a dynamic character.
Right.
And
her personality is just bubble.
It really is. And it's not an election year. I mean, we're seeing the true person at this point.
That's right. And Jerry Johnson, of course, is a person that we've learned to trust, and he thinks that she's working hard to do what she promised to do.
Well, we're going to talk about the day in general, but before we do that, let me take just a moment and remind everybody, because our time may run out on us,
all right,
that the 26th is the day, and that's Saturday week, not this Saturday, but Saturday week, that the old jail, the 1891 restored jail museum and LeGrand History Center will be open to the public. Have you set your hours yet for that time?
From 2 o'clock to 6 o'clock.
Okay.
4 hours.
Are we going to have a birthday cake?
Yes, birthday cake and drinks and just festivities of birthday time. Celebrate the 100th birthday. This was the original date we set, and this is when we tried to get the governor. But her schedule was such that she had to come earlier, so this is why we made 2 dates out of it. But we kept the original date as the open house for everybody. We knew we couldn't take care of the crowd because that auditorium at the college was filled.
Mm-hmm.
And we knew we couldn't do that at the jail. We didn't have a place big enough. So now this is a come and go. Everybody come, go through the building, and we'll have members there, you know, to explain how we got this and where it came from and so on. And they're going to be surprised with what they find. And we invite them to come and go at their own convenience from 2 to 6. Now, our members stretched that double to what I suggested to begin with. I said 2 to 4, and they said, that's not long enough. Let's give it long enough for everybody. I said, but it's also a tiring experience to go up and down stairs and all that. Now, if you all are ready to take it on for 4 hours, and they said, let's do it. And we have an organization that does what the majority wants to do, whether it's my suggestion or not. I never question it. If the majority says we'll do it, we do it.
Reminding of what Crawford Parker said. Now, I don't know if you heard his quote that that we had, and he said, you know, when we live in a country like we live in, and good people operate as they should, then we create museums and history centers as we have here in our town. I think it's an excellent point. You would not have done this in another country that was under a dictatorship.
That's great. You're true. You're right. That's true. Well, a lot of things have come over the television and radio and all of this that I've missed. They began to tell me that evening, well, did you see the 6 o'clock news? Well, I saw part of it, but it wasn't the station that had anything on. Well, they say it's on so-and-so. Well, the next newscast, I'd turn on that one, and it had already had us, and I missed every one of them.
I'll declare.
But I did hear parts of your broadcast, of course, but not the whole thing. But I was there and saw it happen, and it was a delight.
Well, I enjoyed visiting with the people after the ceremonies, and especially our out-of-town guests, and getting their reaction.
We had a number of people that came then from out of town, and so we had some members that had the door open for the out-of-town guests that wouldn't be back, and we visited with them until nearly 5 o'clock that day, and we knew that it was just not fair to people from a long distance to expect them to come back, and they did want to see inside, especially after the ceremony.
You bet.
And so we opened the door for visitors.
Why don't we, at this time, kind of give our listening and viewing audience an overview of what they could expect?
I thought that would be good, too. On the 26th, they're going to be have guided tours through the whole building, explanation of what we have, and I think they're going to be pleasantly surprised. But I thought maybe a listing or sort of an index of what's there might give them something to look forward to. We have members that love that place, and they'll be glad to tell our story to anybody that listens. But the ground floor, the entire ground floor of 6 rooms, make up the library. Now, there are not books in every one of the rooms, but some facet of library work is in every room. In the first part of it, we have Panola County and East Texas, and all of Texas, really, Texas neighbors, and the 12 sheriffs. We have their pictures mounted, finally, overhead so that you can see who the wardens were of that jail. Then the next room is family histories, and I think this was such a surprise to our governor that we have one whole bookshelf set of family histories that have been written in the last few years about families in East Texas. And that gives a kickoff to many researchers, you know, to start that. And then we have, in that same room, we have the ledgers from the Whitfield stores in Beckville, and this is on families, East Texas families, of course. So that room is just a treasure. Then the third room is the ancestral states we came from. And then the fourth room is the microfilm room, where we have our machines and microfilm. Then we have an assembly room where we have our meetings and planning sessions and work sessions. And finally, a little kitchen reception room. Now, that's all downstairs. But if you're not a researcher and you're just interested in heritage just to see it, we have quite a treasure upstairs. That's second floor museum. And in the last 10 days, it's just exploded with interesting things. And we had a lot of them on storage, waiting for the time when the building was ready to display them. But some of them came in at the last minute. And so we have a terrific show up there that will be a thrill to everybody that sees it. At the top of the stairs, the first area of the upstairs is the honors room for Dr. Q.M. Martin. And it is really something to see, and it's going to be expanded even more than it is now. So the Q.M. Martin room is the first thing you see when you get to the top of the stairs. Even into the cells at the top of the stairs will be memorabilia from Q.M. Martin. Then into the regular jail, the old jail part. Those two cells in the front were newer. They weren't in the beginning of the jail. I don't know whether people know how many this jail was built for. There are 6 upstairs cells, and every cell had 4 bunks in it. So the jail itself was set up. In the beginning, there were only 4 of those cells, and they held 4 each. And so that would be 16 prisoners. And then they added those 2 cells, which gave room for 8 more. Then we are tracking down through some of the boys, my boys that are now men, know about who built a cell downstairs for women. That was in this century, you know, they hadn't had a women's cell. And they had a downstairs cell, but when we got the building, that was already gone. And we saw the evidence of it, but we don't know the details of it. But we're going to get them. That cell's not there now, but all those upstairs cells, okay. There are 6 cells, and we have used them every one. In one is the recognition of the pioneer schools. And in one is recognition of what it was like with a prisoner in it. We have a prisoner. He was one of the things photographed by some of them. And then that's what we call the criminal cell. I put violator on the cell, and the girls that were doing that said, he's worse than a violator. You got to put something rougher than that. So we put criminal on his cell. Then there's one cell that represents the pioneer home, early living in this county, you know, old-fashioned living. Then there is one that represents the county and city from originally. We're building more on that, but many pictures. Thanks to Francis Tiller, we have quite a collection of pictures of the old-timers. And not all of them are up yet, but we'll have to trade them and, you know, swap them about.
Frances was the resident photographer for years, wasn't she?
And she has shared her wealth of pictures with us and has some more to share, but we have put up all we can until everybody sees those, and then we'll put up some more. Also, we have a corner that recognizes the volunteer firemen. And we recognize the sheriff's department. Of course, we have the sheriffs downstairs that were wardens of the jail, but we're honoring right up to Ronnie and his dog, what is
Duck.
it? Duck. Ronnie and Duck are also honored, along with, you know, earlier sheriffs. And then there's that whiskey still. That causes more comment, maybe, than any other one thing. And it just charmed our governor.
Well, I was hoping you'd tell that story.
She had to know the details of how it came there. And, of course, we had to cut it in two. It's too big to go through the doors. It's huge. And Corbett Aikens had saved it for us. It was taken during his term of office, the largest whiskey still ever captured in this county. And so I don't know anything about making whiskey. I know the general principle. But when we got that still into the building, the boys in our organization says, let's stew up some and see how it works. I said, yes, and we'll be putting those cells up there. And then some of them said, well, let's use it for our refreshments. Let's make our punch in it, you know, and serve it from it. We had all kinds of fun things with it. But this is a charmer for everybody that comes up there. And Governor Ann was highly interested, and she began to ask questions about how it made whiskey and so on, and she finally turned to one of the body attendants that was with her, a tall, husky black man, and says, do you know how to make it? He said, well, some. And so he started telling her.
Those Department of Public Safety people know everything, don't they?
And and I talked with him on it, and I said, well, as best I understand, it works sort of like an automatic coffee pot. It pushes that liquid through and I said, through this coil. Well, she wondered what the coil was for, you know. So this is the kind of curiosity she had about it. She says, this takes me back. Everything she touched, this takes me back. So she went on every inch of it. She says, I want to go down that aisle. I want to do such and such. And they had told us that if she spent 10 minutes there, they'd be all, you know, that she had. Well, she was really there about 35 minutes, but she really covered the ground in that 35
Well, we were
minutes.
fortunate in that she came into town a little early.
A little earlier than she had first planned to do. They got here a little earlier. And we had, of course, a lot of excitement in getting coffee made and everything because we thought she wouldn't have time for coffee. But she evidently walks with a coffee cup in her hand because she was quick to take me up on the coffee. And when she got to the military part, we have a tremendous military show at the back. And I had said to some of our workers that a university student that is doing master's thesis research can get enough material right there to do a thesis with the material that has developed in that. For World War I and World War II, it's just tremendous. And she was charmed by it, and I asked Linda Porter. She and Pat were the leaders in putting it up. Lucille and Jack Bowen also helped with that, and everybody else helped, but I mean, they took the responsibility of getting it displayed. And I surprised Linda by saying, Linda, you explain this to us. And it gave Linda a shock to be asked to talk. But she did, of course. She knew what she had done, and I knew she knew what she'd done. So went through the whole thing, and all the way around the back of the cells and into the cells and down that corridor, and she didn't miss a beat. And didn't hurry about any of it. And they just stayed to take care of her. They didn't push her. And she had a great time. But this is what you find. All of these areas are represented. And you just want to touch and feel and everything, but we have to limit that because these are precious treasures. And not only have we had the privilege of gathering them and putting them on display, we have the responsibility of taking care of them. And so we'll have to, out of time, I'm sorry. We have to say that we surprised the television men. They said, what are going to be your charges at the door? And I said, not anything. It's free for everybody. This is what it's all about. It belongs to the people. He says, well, and I think they mentioned that on their TV broadcast. And but I do want to emphasize that it's not free to tear up, and it's not free to carry off. It's free to see and enjoy and leave for everybody else. And so we'll have to be very strict in taking care of it, not because we want to be ugly to anybody, but nobody will be free except the officials there to go upstairs and prowl around without being attended. We have too many items that we could never replace. and we want them there for posterity. So everybody's going to be welcome to come when the library is open. If we have somebody that can go upstairs with them, we'd be glad to do it. But when they come to study in the library, that does not give them the right to go wandering around in the museum. Somebody must be with them. We charge no fee, but we ask for respect and care of everything that's there. And we're doing that for the people. We're not doing it for ourselves. But it'd be gone if somebody takes a piece here and a piece there. A lot of it's borrowed. And we just can't run the risk. But we'll be there. We'll be there to share it with everybody and be proud to do so.
Very good. All right. Take just a moment to remind everybody that Potlatch is coming up this weekend, and then next weekend is the official open house for the 1891 Jail Museum and LaGrone History Center. And we invite everyone to come and share in that time, that very special time, as we continue the celebration of getting a job done and standing back and say, that's a job well done.
Yes, it's well done. I'm just as proud of our Army volunteers, and that's what it took to do it.
You need to be. They've done a
great job. And they are still going to be there to continue the building. We're not through yet. There'll be other things we'll develop. As I said, some things came in yesterday. They're going to make another show when we have time to develop it.
Outstanding.
And we hope this will continue.
Well, we'll have a chance to visit next Thursday before the open house and talk a little bit more about what the public can expect. And until then, thank you for being with us today, and we invite you to join us tomorrow as the High Sheriff of Panola County will be our guest, as well as we'll be talking with Craig Kane about the finishing touches.
I started to say, don't miss Potlatch.
Yes, the finishing touches of Potlatch that will be this weekend. Until then, have a good day.